Richard Arkwright was born in the poorest alley of Preston in 1732, the youngest of 13 children. At 13, he was driven out of his home for secretly cutting a neighbor's wig, wandering the streets and making a living as a barber. At 20, he accidentally bought a lock of Indian long cotton yarn, marveling, "How can this be spun so fine?" And from then on, he became obsessed with spinning. At 27, he sold all his possessions to buy a James Hargreaves spinning jenny, taking it apart and reassembling it repeatedly until he smashed the machine in frustration. At 30, hiding in a rural stable to secretly test a water-powered spinning machine, neighbors thought he was practicing witchcraft. At 34, he invented the water frame and applied for a patent, only to be mocked by peers, a barber trying to revolutionize the textile industry. At 36, he built the world's first modern water-powered cotton mill in Crumford, let 24 hours a day workers called it the Hell Mill. At 40, he forced workers to live in factory dormitories and banned drinking, earning the label slave owner. At 45, his factory was burned down by angry hand weavers. He clung to his blueprints and fled into a river, nearly freezing to death. At 50, his mills spread across Britain, and cotton yarn prices plummeted by 90. Those who once mocked him lined up to beg for licensing rights. At 55, he was knighted, yet muttered during the ceremony, "A knighthood isn't as fast as a water wheel turning." At 60, his patent was declared invalid by the court. Enraged, he shouted in the parliamentary hall, "I invented the factory, but you stole it." At 63, he built Britain's first complete industrial town, constructing roads, schools, and churches, all just to make workers as punctual as machines. At 68, lying on his deathbed amid the roar of Crumford Mill, he said to his visiting son, "Don't cry, I'll be quiet once you shut the water gates." After Arkwright's death, people finally understood. With his cold hands, he spun the first thread of the Industrial Revolution.